Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Illinois Arts Council Agency, and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Illinois Stories. I'm Mark McDonald in Springfield at the Route 66 Motorheads Bar and Grill and Museum. Now, you already know when you see racing cars perched on top of a roof of a restaurant that you're in for an interesting visit. Well, but not only is this building full of memorabilia, it also houses a museum that's open to the public, and people from all over the world have already found it. Well, Ron, can I go in first?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay. This is likely the first place that a person would come if they're coming in for a meal or a drink, right?
Exactly right. This door, that door.
Yeah, okay. And this is, I guess it was an entryway when this was a restaurant before, but it wouldn't have looked like this because this is all about vehicles. You got everywhere you look, there's a vehicle or something about a vehicle.
Exactly right. I think my name kind of says it all, Mark. Where it's Route 66, Motorheads Bar Grill and Museum. Mm-hmm. So even though bar and grill is how we make our living, the museum and the racing part and car part's a big, big deal to me.
You get people probably from all over the world that follow the Route 66. You know, that's the legend that they're interested in, and they follow that. And you're on the list of attractions now, aren't you?
Exactly right. I'll tell you, just like last night, for instance, a motorcycle crew from Chile rolled through here.
Chile?
Yeah. There was only one of them could speak English. You know what I mean? And they all sat out there. We had music on the deck out there, and they just had a ball. I don't know if they knew what they were saying or not, but we get that nonstop. I've got them from Japan, China, UK. It's amazing.
That's wonderful. Okay, now the first thing you see, now I'm not a Motorhead, so some of these people don't mean anything to me, but tell me about the Paoli family, because we're going to briefly look at why you had this here.
Sure, this couple here is like the legends of Springfield, and we got a lot. But the Paoli, Jimmy Paoli run the funny car called the Yankee Pack Rat and that back in the 70s. His mom, Bessie Paoli, was the first woman ever to put a car in the Indy 500, which was that car.
Wow.
Back then, she was a woman, and she could not even get down in the pits, and she had her car fielded.
She owned the car, and she couldn't go down in the pit.
They wouldn't let her in the pit because women were not allowed in the pits back then.
Oh, be doggone.
So
and she's
all
from
this is
Springfield,
just history of them. Over here, we got Ernie Ball, which is a custom painter. If you mention Ernie Ball in the car world in California, they know who he is. He's been featured in 100 magazines. Imagine that. And he's just the best in the business. He's a good friend of mine.
And he's with a fellow named Len Trumper.
Len Trumper is not a car guy, but Len Trumper was a big part of Springfield history because he was a promoter back in then. And he brought like Van Halen, Boston, Hattie's, Kiss, REO Speedwind. He brought every
them all to
big
town,
band to Springfield. And all he was an old hippie back then. Yeah. And he thought he would do it one time, and he was expecting 200-300 people, and he got 5,000.
He was pretty successful. He figured out what he was good at, didn't he?
He figured out, and ever since then, and anybody in that business knows Len Trumper. Yeah. So, and he's a friend of mine, so it really worked out well.
This is kind of sets the tone for what you're going to see here when you walk in, because there's everywhere you look, there's either a sign, a vehicle, or something from the past, right?
Everything I got's got a story. Paul Harley Davidson gave me that. That's what one of Stan's prized possession. And right here, this is Justin Allgaier drives for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
This little fairing up here?
Fairing Ironworks. Yeah. Louis Fairing built it for his son Billy back in the 80s, I guess. Well, Justin Allgaier, Dad wanted to see if Justin could drive a race car. That was the first seat, Justin Allgaier, which now he drives on the NASCAR circuit for Dale. That was his very first car, which is really cool. Right here, this is Randy Fulks, and this is he strikes parking lots here. He owns his own business. He holds 56 world records in go-karting. Fastest speed, like 166 mile an hour. 160, almost 60 records he has, and he's right here in Springfield.
And this is one of his go-karts?
That's one of his go-karts.
Wow.
His brother next to it holds like 35. They're like everywhere in the world. You mentioned the Folk brothers, and they're like, oh, wow, you know those guys?
Yeah, everywhere, everybody but me.
They're that well, you got to be a true Motorhead to understand it. So that's kind of what we do when you walk in before you ever get in there. This is just a customer of mine. He says, Ron, I got a cool motorcycle. And boom, he said, I'm going to bring it into you.
Let's hang that baby up.
I said, let's hang her up. That baby deserves it. Here's a little mailbox my buddy made me. Little stuff like this. where it's a mailbox, looks like a motor.
Yeah, yeah.
Just cool stuff like that.
It is cool. This place is cool too. Now this was built as a Stuckey's, right?
This was the original Stuckey's, built in 1970. And when they built this, Route 66, 55 was not open yet. Okay. And 66 was still over there. So the year that they opened, it was a transition to 55. The Stuckey's family understood one thing, that real estate was going to be a big deal to them. So they always bought on the big corners of the major interstate. So if you travel, you'll see them on always the big interstate. So I think they only lasted in Springfield like 10 years. So.
But if you look, there's cars and standard signs, and if you look over that door there, you see the rear end of a Corvair. If you look over the window or the door.
Everywhere you look, Mark, there's something that's got to do with Springfield or cars. Friends of mine again, Dale and Mike, made this for me and surprised me, and it says, Ron, we built you a Corvair to hang over here. That's the entrance to our bathrooms are all full of car stuff too. This is a crazy story. Ernie Ball painted that in 1970.
You mean at the very top where it says Springfield, Illinois up there?
That's a soapbox derby car.
Oh, okay, all right.
He painted that. The guy who raced it, Bobby Wick, after he raced it, he went to Dayton, Ohio to the Nationals, and after that, they take it for a year, and during that time, his brother died, and he never seen the car again. And I swear to God, last year, I'm working on here before I opened it, and this guy's standing right here. And at that time, the car was there, and I heard the bell. I walk around, and he's crying, Mark. Tears coming down his eye, and I think, what the heck, He said, that's my car. I haven't seen it since I was 13 years old. Ernie Ball was standing here putting up my car about 4 weeks earlier, and he got a phone call and says, Ernie, I got a soapbox car you built way back in the 70s. Do you want it? And Ernie said, I really don't want it. Ernie left, started thinking about, well, Ron will want that. So we bought it, or he gave it to Ernie, and Ernie gave it to me.
Wow.
And all this stuff Bobby Wicks had in his closet. Now he's 58 years old. He saved all of this stuff in his closet since he was 13. So I gave it back to Bobby. I said, just like a circle. I said, the only deal is you got to leave it in here for a while. So that's a cool story.
That is cool. I love the chandelier of old signs.
Believe it or not, those 3 chandeliers, there's one there and there's 2 there. Them was the original Stuckey's Corporation chandeliers when they built the building. We lowered them down, refurbished them. And I put the car, they had white globes on it. We made our own brackets, and then we raised them up I raised that up 12 feet and that up 4 feet. But the ceiling was the only reason I kept the building. When I came in here,
there's nothing else like this. The Stuckey's were all built like this, weren't they?
Not all of them. Only there were marquee ones.
Really?
A lot of them they did your old 7-Eleven style.
Oh, it's neat.
But on the big corners and that, they built this grand.
So neat,
grand.
Kind of like a half a barrel on each side.
Yeah, I've heard all kinds of things it's like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, okay, we see the Tops up there. That's the old hamburger chain, right? The
Tops was off 5th and South Grand in Springfield. That's the original sign right on 5th and South Grand. And the Durr family owned it, which they come in here, the 3 boys come in here all the time. So they have a ball. We got all the original menus they gave me over there on the wall, which we'll look at in a minute.
Now, okay, Bandy Chevrolet.
Chevrolet was in Raymond, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
And my buddy took that off, Dino, which has helped me on a lot of my decor. He took that off in the dealership back in the 70s when they closed up, and he's had it up in his attic ever since. So that's all original porcelain signs.
Now, we're gonna make a turn here because there's an absolutely beautiful framework of a car up there. What's the story there?
That car is a 1969 Camaro. I bought it in July of 1973.
Wow.
I've owned it 43, almost 44 years. And then I drove it like I stole it for about 10 or 15 years. I hit a tree, I hit a house. I was a maniac in it.
Oh, man.
And in the early 80s, I said, you know what, I'm done with it. So I took it and I restored it into the custom.
Oh.
And I showed that all over the country with Ernie Ball built cars too. So in the 80s, that was a champion all over the country. It was, And it's just a fun thing. Now I call the book in, Mark.
Yeah.
It just sits there where everybody can enjoy it. You know, I wouldn't drive it no more. I've had it so many years, you know what I mean?
Oh, it's gorgeous. Now, if you don't want to look at vehicles and signs, there's no shortage of televisions here. You must have 24 stations on the air here.
Yeah, we do. I think there's 30 TVs in here. And I got 7 more outside I haven't put up yet. And I'm kind of waiting on that because they're kind of a nightmare to keep everybody happy.
Man.
I got to be honest.
Your bill for TV must be huge.
Oh my goodness. Now that Standard Oil sign up there, that came from Rochester, Illinois. I try and get stuff everywhere in the community. And if you look what's really cool, look at my bar.
Okay, let's take a look.
That's a 1955 Ford Fairlane.
Yeah.
That's a 1956 Buick. And that's a 1956 7 Chevrolet.
Oh, beautiful.
And I had them cars delivered out here, 4-door cars. They were all rusty. And we just cut the rear end off of them, restored them, put them back in there.
Yeah.
And I had a guy make the custom stainless steel with
really
the tap.
neat.
So we got 6 beers in each rear end.
What'd you do with the rest of the car?
I just junked them.
They weren't worth anything.
No, they were just
the rear ends were in good enough shape to
good enough shape. I kept looking until I could find a rear end that looked good enough on each one.
And even the bar, look at this, decked out with old photographs. This is, no matter where you sit, you're going to be reminded of some place that closed in Springfield or somewhere around here.
This is a history lesson in itself, Mark. Everything you can look, the Sunrise Donut, remember Coney Island on 6th Street, the 5th Fleetwood Restaurant. I mean, Jack Robinson, which I actually got one of his original porcelain signs hanging over there. Everywhere you look, it's something to do, the Do Chili Parlor. I mean, the whole
There's the
bar.
Senate Theater here.
That's the original Senate Theater. I really put stuff that had to do with car, restaurant, diner, automotive. You know, very seldom do I put something that don't have an association with it.
Let me ask you, the restaurant's been open for about a year.
A little over a year
How's
now.
business?
It's been unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah, we kind of got, I say, our mojo going now, Mark, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We started out with just alcohol for a while, and then I started serving hot dogs and broth for about 2 or 3 months. Then I started introducing food, you know what I mean? So it's one of those deals, I didn't want to get ahead of myself.
Right.
Everything I do, I say there's the right way, the wrong way, and Ron's way.
And Ron's way, right.
So I always do it my way, you know what I mean? And I just, but it really worked for us because I've been to too many restaurants, except the franchise, they got their game plan down. But you go in and they're not prepared for it.
Right.
And customers come in, the first thing here, oh, don't go there. You can't get waited on, the food's bad, and that scared the heck
Small
out of me.
Small steps.
Baby step.
Yeah. Okay. So now you're open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
7 days a week. We open every morning at 7 o'clock, 7 days a week. And on the weekend, we're open till 1.
And it's a big enough place that it takes about 40 people to run this place.
Yeah, 40, 45 people at all times. Yeah.
Hey, listen, you also have a museum here.
Yes.
And people that know Route 66 will remember Bill O'Shea.
Yeah.
He had the old gas station that was out on Peoria Road, and it became a museum. He kept it in the 50s style, didn't he? He kept everything there. And you bought it.
I bought a lot of his stuff, yeah. We'll go out there in a minute.
Can we go take a look at it?
Let me show you one more thing over here before you do that. I got something that's back because it's race again, car. Back in the day, we also had a drag strip here, and most Springfield didn't even remember it, called Drag City, right out here in Rochester Road. And I got a little shrine for all the, and we don't have to look at it, but all that is
that
original.
Back there.
We had many world records set right here in Springfield. And that's kind of a shrine to all the.
And what was the name of that speedway again?
It called it Pleasant Hill, then it went to Drag City.
Drag City Speedway.
And that was a pretty neat deal here in Springfield too. And that's just another car race thing, you know. And right there is Kim Shirley. You've heard of his auto body. That motorcycle I showed with my car over the country. So everywhere I took that car, I took Kim's bike with us. So I pulled it in the trailer in the front. So everywhere we went, you know, it was all part of it. So
really something.
Yeah, just I could spend hours on every little thing, like Fairing Dad, his original race stuff over there. I mean, the Robert Yamaha people, Charlie Roberts. I got all his race suits. I mean, we really like Springfield and the legends we got here, you know. So
that's terrific, man. Let's go that way.
If you look, I got inlaid in the floor all the emblems. It starts in Illinois and walked right down here and ends in California out the door. So we put our own Route 66 inlaid in the floor. So people kind of get a kick out of that, you know?
They do. Ron, in a building right next door to your restaurant, it looks like an old garage, and that's what you want, isn't it? You want it to look like an old Route 66 garage.
Exactly right, like you would do in the old days. And on the outside, I made a Texaco station on this side. I'm doing the city services on that side, which my grandpa owned over on Wabash Avenue, my great-grandpa.
He did.
And on that side, it's the coolest of all. I got an abandoned gas station from the 40s, like they just closed up and went away and just left it rust away. And it's really cool from the interstate side. People have more fun with that than any place in the place.
Yeah.
So.
But Shays is significant because Bill had a gas station on Peoria Road, and he kept it like in museum condition for a long time, and then he passed away, and you bought the majority of his stuff. So this is what we're looking at, right?
Exactly. I didn't know how big Bill Shay was to the city of Springfield. When it closed, they told me they really, really missed Shays because a lot of international customers and domestic too. But anything that had the Shays name on it, I tried to buy. You know what I mean? So, you know, the Shays, the truck covers, I got the original Route 66 attraction sign.
Yeah.
And Bill Jr., once he seen what I was doing, he really helped me with some other pieces that I didn't have that he donated here. I got the phone booth was in Shays from the State Capitol. The original phone booth was in State Capitol.
No kidding.
And that was in Shays Museum. You know, so everywhere you look, I got something from Shays that I got his original suits and his hats and the 55 was on front of that was the original 55 sign off 55 back in the old days. So
one of the first interstate signs, huh?
One of the first interstate signs.
Neat.
And he did it on the outside, you know, when he did it. This was every book you ever see with Shays. This was in it. That's kind of what they highlighted, and that's the first thing I bought. I would have paid whatever they wanted for that. I was on a mission to get that and the Shays letters. So
and you got them.
I got them. You know what I mean?
But you have a lot of more stuff too, because you know you love signs, and so do I. I'm not big on Motorhead, but signs. The Bel Air Manor was and really it was there for a long time. What 5 years ago? I guess they tore it down.
Yeah, it's a sad thing that they couldn't keep it for the Route 66 International Museum. It was a perfect place. I tried it, but I wasn't yet. And today I would think we'd never tore it down. I'd have had a group together to keep it. Because that was a very cool place.
Well, you got the sign anyway.
I got all the signs, so I guess I can't complain. But yeah, that's all that. All this is just little stuff. Arts Motel down in Farmersville. I got all his cash registers and all his stuff with it. This is a cool piece. Growl Chevrolet in Lincoln. This was from the 40s. He says a 30. I called Chris Growl. He said, Ron, that's a rare sign. I got pictures of it. My grandpa had the original dealership. And I just picked that up in Decatur. Stuff like that I really like, Mark. It's just everything. And this thing is full of history stuff in the cases. You know, we just...
now, this will be a museum, but your plan is also to make this a gift shop, right?
Gift shop.
When people visit the museum, they're going to want to take something home from Motorheads, right?
Exactly right. We sell a lot of apparel now. But I'm really going to be big when I do this and get it done. I got so many projects. I'm like a tennis ball. I'm bouncing everywhere. So eventually there'll be somebody out here full time, and this will be all apparel and all kinds of cool
So
stuff.
really, no matter what time of year people stop by, if they're traveling the old Route 66 and they would stop by here, even in January or February, they could visit the museum. Somebody be here to help them.
I'm here 12 hours, 7 days a week. So any internationals, I really try and talk to them.
Do you keep a log?
Yeah, we do. Not as good as Bill Shay did. We're going to get better.
Yes,
Bill made everybody sign in, and we get so busy we get sidetracked sometimes. But we're going to get better at that.
You got old cigarette machines. You got old gum machines, candy machines. The old
that's out of Arts Motel, and that's out of Coney Island. The original cash register got all the original prices from Coney Island.
And look
downtown.
at the prices on there. We still got the prices on there.
Well, I got the older menu, which is way cheaper than that, even, and it's on the other side. Yeah, so everywhere you look, this is a cool piece over here, Mark. This is 1915 Model T, and in 1919 they put a race body on it. And Morrow Brothers is still in business today.
Where are they?
They're in Greenfield, Illinois.
Okay.
And I got that. Nobody knows how I got it, but it's a long story. But that's a pretty neat piece.
Now that's not in running condition, right?
Yo, we take tour drive, give people
Oh, come
rides all
on,
the time.
you really?
Third crank that baby. We can
I'll
strap
be
our goggles
doggone.
on and we can take
Oh, I'll
off.
bet that's fun. I'll bet that is
It
fun.
really is. It really is. We have a ball with it. So
And then
this is
actually-
a Weaver Jack. You remember Weaver? You wouldn't remember that in the 20s?
No, I don't.
Springfield, Illinois. They
made 'em?
They were known for hydraulics, Jack, and that's a Springfield, Illinois from the early 20s.
Wow.
So-
Another Springfield piece. I'm looking up at this wall up here. The A Lincoln, which included the dining, I guess that dining room went with the sign, didn't it?
Mark, I've got to tell you, out of every sign I got in the place, I think that's my favorite one.
Why is that?
Well, Abe Lincoln was on South 6th Street, and as we all know, Cozy Dog's known all over the world.
Right.
When Buzz sold the Cozy Dog to Walgreens, this was next door, and it was a complete running motel. And Buzz bought it and tore it down, and that's where the Coney Island sits today. And this was the original porcelain sign out front. And my buddy Dino Denora again is taking
Let's go
it down
take a
in
look at
1996. That was on the front page of State Journal
Okay,
Register.
so this is when it's coming down here?
That's when it was coming down in 1996.
Oh, okay. And you know what else I like about this? Not too many people are going to notice. Here's a local company right here, A Sign Company.
Dennis
made
has
that
a sign museum. He's my buddy too.
Yeah.
And he loves this too.
And this was part of it too?
That
This
was a
part of
sign
the same sign?
about 40 feet away.
Wow. It's remarkable. It's in good condition too.
Oh
isn't it?
yeah. We got Bose's Cozy corn dogs. That was before they were called corn dogs. We're just Virginia involved Bose.
Yeah. They still have their place out at the fair.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Kenny Bose. Me and Kenny's been friends since the 40 years now. RMW Auto Paint Supply. They were local. This is to be a barber shop in here.
Yeah, now tell me about this. What do you mean it used to be a barber shop?
Well, what I'm going to do here, Dale Patterson, my old boss, owned Burberry Sporting Goods. He's a barber back when I worked for him in 72 and 3. I got a mannequin with his original white, you know how the barber used to wear?
Yeah.
I'm going to put Bill Shea in an old porcelain barber chair, and he can have it Bill Shea, and Dale Patterson be giving Bill Shea a haircut.
Okay.
That's my next big deal right there.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of stories in there too, and I'd like to see all those photographs, but we don't have time to see them all.
Yep. This, I got so many little stuff that's a history. It'd take you a day to look at everything.
I know
And
it would.
I got a story for everything, and it excites me to talk about it.
What do you know about Willard Batteries?
You know what? That was just in a local. I think they went out of business. I don't know how many years ago, but such a nice sign. I just loved it. So.
Now, this soda fountain over here.
Watt Brothers Pharmacies.
I've
Them were the original
heard of them.
bitches.
I think they were out of business by the time I moved here.
Yeah.
But there's the old photographs of
There's
it.
the old four brothers. They all had their own. And that was a phone booth.
Out of their place?
No, I'm lying.
No?
That did not come out of there.
Okay, at least
Yeah.
you're telling the truth now.
No, I put it there to make it look like it did, but the picture showed one exactly like it, and that was out of Shade Museum too.
But this was part of the Watts. This was the
No,
part of the soda fountain?
all these stools were.
Okay.
But then I kind of built our own thing there.
Yeah. And a 10-cent Coke machine.
And it worked.
It does, huh?
Oh, they're all
Still
ice
keeps them cold?
Yep.
No kidding.
Yep, that one over there, that refrigerator, it's ice cold. So, yeah, just everywhere you look, Mark, there's stories around here.
I know. I'm thinking you're going to have some crowds in the summers to come.
Yeah, people really have fun. Yep, they really do. They're just little stuff everywhere you look. Up here, this is kind of a cool deal. Skateland South was on Peoria Road, and that was the ball that sat in the center of the Skateland, and that was on Business Route 66 out there. And that's the original ball, Barry Tapp.
And just below it, I saw those ice skates. I'm thinking to myself, what are those skates doing there? Well, that explains that.
And that was a Route 66 deal, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, just a little bit more history of Springfield.
Ron, we have some famous car racers from Springfield, and you've got them immortalized up here on the right above where your maitre d' joins people.
Yeah, this is Justin Allgaier. We've seen his little car. That's his original race suit. Rick Brandt's a big local company, a big sponsor for him, and Justin really, appreciates Rick.
Well, he's put Springfield on the map in a lot of ways.
Oh, yes, he has. And then we got the Wilkerson Tim Wilkerson and his son Dan, and both their funny cars are on the roof, sponsored by LRS.
Oh, okay.
Dick Levi, might have said earlier, is a good friend of mine,
Yeah,
and him and Rick Brandt both come here quite often. You know what I mean? They really love the place. But Tim is one of the winningest single team funny car drivers.
Let's move down
in
a little
history.
bit so we can see that.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you go to California, everybody wants to know about Tim Wilkerson. He, like I say, he's won more races than any single team funny car in the country, the world. So he's a legend. This is Donnie Beechler, who drove for A.J. Foyt for about 3 years.
And he's a Springfield fellow, isn't he?
Springfield fella, yeah. I mean, him and A.J. Foyt today are still good friends.
Yeah. So we've had Motorheads in this town for a long time.
Oh, history. They've all, Jeff Gordon, A.J. Foyt, Kenny Schrader, Rusty Wallace, they've all raced here.
Yeah.
So Kenny Schrader will be here this weekend, as a matter of
Is that right? Well, hey, thanks, Ron.
Absolutely.
This has been a terrific visit. Really appreciate it. Okay.
Absolutely.
Just a reminder to you, the Route 66 Motorheads Bar and Grill and Museum are open 7 days a week. And even if you're not hungry or thirsty, if you just want to look around, Ron says you're welcome to, no charge. With another Illinois story in Springfield, I'm Mark McDonald. Thanks for watching.
Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Illinois Arts Council Agency, and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you.